Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. Welcome. We made it to Friday. Welcome to the POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you for tuning in today. Real quick, we got a bunch of stuff to get into. I want to address Angie Seymour. Opinion on Kiffin going to Miami. Miami can't afford Kiffin. Ole Miss is going to be able to go to $8 million, $7.5 million. Miami can't afford that. So I would not worry about that at all. I would be more concerned if somebody like Alabama came open. I think that's the job that he wants. But remember, on a lot of these jobs, people are going to use unnamed sources all the time. The unnamed sources are not named, so you don't know if they're reliable, if they're good, or what's going on. Most of the time, a reporter calls another reporter in another area. He kind of confirms the hunch as a good idea, and then it is unnamed sources. But his unnamed sources in this case is Nevin Shapiro, a Ponzi schemer that's in prison at the moment. So, whatever. All right, Travel and Cruise World. I want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. That's 1-800-330-7461. Travel and Cruise World. What I wanted to do, we're 20 months into this at this point. Now, if this goes on, it's 20 months in, you need a resource on the ground. You need somebody that can tell you what's going on. These guys can provide that to you. They can be the resource and get you the price that you were getting online by yourself, but they can answer all those questions. So you'll know if a mask is required here, if there's a masking rule here. Everything that's going on with the differences in these corporations, there's no surprise. They can make your vacation be exactly what you want it to be. That is Travel and Cruise World, 1-800-330-7461. See Central Florida like a local. On our podcast, you can catch it at Positively Ole Miss. You can leave a review. Just do a 5-star rating or whatever. You can say whatever you want to. Just leave a 5-star rating, and that'll help people find the feed moving forward. Now, all of this is going to change. We are in the POMcast farewell tour. 11 shows left. I think December 3rd is the last POMcast, and then after that, we will move over to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Really excited about that. You can tell by the names and what's going on. Real excited. But whenever we have the new feed of where you can consume your Ole Miss information, we will let you know immediately. And on the Y'all's Conference Network page, I'm probably going to pin a video at the top just to tell you how to do that as well. So I'm really excited about that. All right. If you want to watch the show, you can catch us on Twitter at the Stephen Willis or at YCN_SEC. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. I haven't figured out how to change that yet. And YouTube, you can search it at Y'all's Conference Network. And basically, if you do that, you'll be able to tell, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be able to not only tell that we're streaming, you'll be able to tell what we're streaming about. And we're on Twitch at YCN_SEC as well. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Today, big show. We are going to do a little bit of a last look at Vanderbilt. Get ready for this game. We're going to talk uniforms for this week. It's a new combination. In my 45 years of life, I've never seen this combination on the field for Ole Miss. We will show that to you as well. And, of course, we'll talk about the Ole Miss Marquette game last night. Ole Miss lost the game, I think by 6 points or so. It was a game that got away from them in the second half a little bit. They did not make their free throws. It came back to bite them. Marquette made their free throws. As simple as that, really. You play a game for 40 minutes, and the outcome or the result is people lining up and shooting from a stripe unguarded. These things affect so many games so often. And it absolutely affected that last night. So that's Ole Miss and Marquette. Ole Miss lost the game. They'll play Elon tonight. But it is what it is. My wife told me, I did not know that I was saying it is what it is too much. My wife told me it's happened, and now it's gotten worse. It is absolutely weird. But I do appreciate everybody coming to the POMcast and watching it over the course of the last year as we've grown our audiences and things like that. And we will continue to try and do that on the Locked On Ole Miss channel as well, along with the Y'all's Conference Network stuff that we've basically repurposed the Positively Ole Miss YouTube page. Oh yeah, John, it's only a big game as this is the first time Ole Miss has a chance to ever go 7-0 in home games. A 7-0 perfect conference slate. Now, a lot of that is they didn't play games like that before, as many games at home. So, there's seasons that have gone undefeated, but this will be the first time for them to potentially go 7-0 over a conference slate. So it is a big game in that thing, and I really, really like the throwback uniforms. As I thought about it, the Ole Miss Vanderbilt game, Vanderbilt has a problem on both lines. Serious problem on both lines. So I hate to use the phrase slump buster, and this is the time for the offensive line to get right. Now, I understand they rushed for 250 yards against Texas A&M. Yeah, I absolutely get that. But it is time to establish the run and work the RPO game and get right for Thursday night. Even though they do different stuff, this is a chance for you to get right yourself before Mississippi State. That's a big game as well. That's a chance for Ole Miss to go 10-2 in the regular season for the first time. I think it's the first time. I don't know about that, but, we'll see. I don't know if Ole Miss has ever won 10 games in the regular season. Like I said, part of that is them not playing many games back then, but, it is what it is. But they have a chance to win 10 games. And Ole Miss has never won 11 games in a season. So all of these are on the table. But without that, you have to win what's in front of you. You have to go 1-0 each week. Ole Miss has to win 3 games. And they're going to get progressively harder from here on out. If Ole Miss beats Vanderbilt, that'll be the easiest of the 3. That's no offense to Vandy, but that is kind of, you've kind of earned that. Mississippi State is a good team. I'm expecting a little bit of a war. That game is going to be so much fun. There are people that live in Mississippi, and I get that this game to them is something that they're afraid to lose as opposed to want to win. That's what the Egg Bowl became, and the toxicity that started growing from the 90s into the 2000s and into the Hugh Freeze and Dan Mullen era. People were afraid to lose that game. They didn't necessarily want to win that game. They were afraid to lose that game. And I understand in the state of Mississippi that attitude permeates most everything. But down here where I am, it's a little bit of a different story. I honestly don't have that much hatred for Mississippi State. I don't have that much hatred for LSU. It's one of those things where every bit of energy that I have is invested in Ole Miss sports. And we might compete for 3 hours a day, but once that is over, I literally could care less about you after that. It's a weird tech that I have. I'm built a little bit differently, but then I'm not living in and around them. Now, I grew up in Simpson County. I spent the first 23 years of my life in Mississippi and went to Ole Miss and all of that stuff. But once I got out of the state and joined the military and came back and left to go to Tennessee, the rivalry hit a little bit differently. And people need to keep that in mind just as much as they keep in mind the trials and tribulations that could go for people that live inside the state of Mississippi. I mean, just understand that back and forth. It's not a situation where you have to look at it one way, because like I don't like it when somebody from, say, Holmes County, Mississippi, tells me that I don't understand what's going on and I need to do it this way and I need to do that because I don't get it. And it's like, no, it doesn't work this way. It works this way and you don't like it and you're difficult because you spend a year talking noise to them. So you need to back that up. That's the reason that's afraid to lose, is everybody talks noise to people. I don't talk trash. And it goes back to the thing that I genuinely don't care one way or another about others' program. Everything and all the energy that I have is based on Ole Miss sports and ways to make it better. I told you, I'm a fan of the program from a program level. I'm built a little bit differently. I understand that. But it's a game where I don't talk trash to Mississippi State people, and as a result, they don't talk trash to me. We're friends. We go back and forth. We do whatever we have to do, not necessarily about the game, but we don't talk trash to each other. And if you're not careful talking trash, that talking trash escalates and escalates and escalates, and eventually it becomes toxic. So I'm not telling you to not love Ole Miss sports. I'm telling you that what they do does not matter. And I'm telling you that if you invest all of your time into Ole Miss sports, not the hatred of another program or what's going on, even though I know it's hard, I get that, it's going to be so much enjoyable, and you can actually enjoy the Egg Bowl. I am genuinely looking forward to a Thanksgiving night game. Win or lose, Mississippi State's a good team. But I'm genuinely looking forward to that game because it's not something to where I'm just dreading losing that game. Thanks, John. So the Vanderbilt game, like I said, it's a big game because Ole Miss has a chance to be 7-0 at home for the first time ever, and an undefeated home season for the first time since 1993. See, the benefit about that, the reason that goes back and forth, is Ole Miss has traditionally alternated LSU and Alabama. So you got one difficult game every year, and it's going to be difficult to have that consecutive win streak because of that. But this year, got Alabama on the road, LSU at home. They were down. It is what it is. Ole Miss was able to win that game. Actually, Ole Miss was able to dominate that game. But yeah, there you have it. Looking at the uniforms. Just a second. I need to change the duration real quick because I forgot to do that because I'm super awesome. All right, if you look at the uniforms this week, you can see a little bit of a throwback flavor in the Ole Miss uniforms this week. Numbers on the side of the helmets, navy blue jersey, gray pants. It's a throwback. And I was just thinking online today that this means that Ole Miss will have worn red jerseys exactly twice in 2 years. They wore it against Auburn last year. They wore what they called the OGs with the navy blue helmet, the red jerseys and the gray pants. So that, that standard look, they wore that against Auburn. And this year against Tulane, they wore the powder blue helmets, the red jerseys, and white pants. So since that Auburn game, we have not seen the red, gray, navy combination, anything like that. So I'm beginning to think, and I don't know if I'm right, but Lane Kiffin looks at this a little bit differently than standard fans do. Now, if you look at the SEC West right now, you have Alabama, you have Mississippi State, you have Texas A&M, you have Arkansas, all with a form of red in their jerseys. Now, it might be a little bit darker and everything. It's not exactly the same shade, but it is red. So, in the Navy side of the house, or on the blue side of the house, You have Auburn. Auburn wears navy blue. Ole Miss wears navy blue. Nobody wears powder blue. And if you see it, powder blue is worn like 4 times a year. Navy blue is worn like 2, and they break out the red jerseys once a year. So I'm wondering if it's time to think about these jerseys and the uniforms at Ole Miss, especially the red ones, like LSU thinks of the purple ones. Or Tommy Tuberville back in the day thought of the blue ones. I'm curious about that because, I mean, this feels intentional after 2 years. It feels intentional. And, you know, Lane Kiffin wants things a certain way. Lane Kiffin's going to get whatever he wants. He can go out and we can do powder blue jerseys every single time we take the field as long as he stays. Because at the bottom line is if he wins 10 or 11 games and it's a special season, he becomes instantly the most powerful man in Mississippi if he wants it. Instantly. But the red jerseys haven't broke them out against Tulane. We broke them out against Auburn. We're powder the last 2 years against LSU. I expect navy blue. I expect navy blue to show up against Alabama and teams like that just because of the contrast between the teams. But, yeah, I do agree a little bit, John. I think we need to see the powder blue helmets, the red jerseys, and the gray pants. I mean, that is just a solid look that has gone away. We have not seen that look since LSU in 2019, which I understand, John, you probably do want to go back to 2019, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's just an interesting situation and dichotomy when you deal with these uniforms and what's going on. I'm pretty fired up. But Saturday against Vanderbilt, the numbers on the side of the helmets, the navy blue jerseys, the gray pants, it's going to look like 1960 out there, running around with the helmet decals and everything going on, like the Navy jersey. Yeah, seriously. Time machines. We need to hold off on the time machines, or you can just catch up with me in a couple of years when you catch back up. So that's where we're at with the uniforms. I'm expecting this. This is one thing that nobody's talking about and nobody will. So I'm going to increase speculation. Okay? Let's say that. We'll increase speculation is what we'll do. We'll make it up because I have nothing that backs this up. This is something I am going to pull out of thin air. So get ready for this. If you need a second, let me know. I think the navy blue helmets are not being worn against Vanderbilt because there are no navy blue helmets. Those helmets are on their way to get painted white for the Mississippi State game. I'm expecting all white for the Mississippi State game. That is my expectations for that game. All white, white helmet, white jersey, white pants. That is what I'm expecting for the Egg Bowl. Again, I pulled that out of nothing. I have nothing to back that up. Except the fact that when was the last time we saw the Navy helmets? And how long does it take to paint them? I think it takes 2 or 3 weeks to do the order from beginning to end to get them back. So I think it's going to be white, white, white in that game. So if it happens, I do want all the credit because I materialized this idea out of nothing. If it doesn't happen, do not blame me because I came from nothing. There we go. So it's all reward, no risk. I like that. That kind of works out a little bit. But I'm expecting icy white for the Egg Bowl. I wish they could do it with powder jerseys. I like the powder numbers and all that. They need a white jersey that has the powder outline, and then they can do the white helmet and all that. Yeah, I think that would look fantastic. That could be a surprise game. I like I said, I'm pulling it from nothing. I know nothing. But it's something I would look forward to seeing. So, let me do that real quick. So, Ole Miss lost to Marquette last night. I think it was 78-72, 76-70, somewhere in there. And there's really only one story. It's November basketball. I mean, and unless you're a LSU fan or a Kentucky fan or an Alabama fan, November basketball is November basketball. You know, it is what it is. But Ole Miss lost that game, and losing that game means they potentially lost a chance to play West Virginia, to play other resume-building teams down the road by losing that first game. And you all get that. That happens from time to time. But the game against Marquette, they actually came out and played pretty well. They had a section to where they went a little bit cold in the second half, especially towards the end. And they didn't do well at all from the free throw line. They make their free throws, they win that game. And they advance, and everything is in front of them. But they didn't make their free throws. The other team did. The other team was 13 of 15 or something like that. And Ole Miss was like 6 of 15. It doesn't take a mathematician to know that the margin of victory that Marquette had was in those shots. So it's kind of a little bit of a pain. You know, you see that. You see the potential of this team. You can see everything. They play fast. They're fun. I like Brakefield. I like Brooks. Jarkel Joyner is just really good. And then, you know, you can see Austin Crowley developing, and Luis Rodriguez is doing Luis Rodriguez things. And you need a little bit more work from Matthew Morrell, but whatever. He's going to get there. And yeah, they're right there. They're close. Now, I don't know if this team is close enough to catch somebody like Alabama or Arkansas this year. I don't know if this is one of those teams. We have to get to SEC play and see how this develops before anything happens. I'm not going to make an sweeping opinion off one result or after 3 November results. You don't know what you have in a basketball team in the SEC until February, because you don't start paying attention until conference season, and then it takes 2 or 3 games for that to get going. I mean, it is what it is. You know, the SEC network has made SEC basketball good. It hasn't changed the mindset of the fans. And that's important. It hasn't changed the mindset of the fans. And the fans don't start paying attention until January. They might pay attention then in the Big Ten. They might in the Big 12. They might do all of that. They don't in the SEC. So I'm not going to get all worked up and all bent out of shape because of a November loss. I'm just not. I'm not a type person that looks at an individual game. I'm a program guy. And Ole Miss played pretty well. They just did not make free throws. Now, how do you fix that? I don't know. Whenever we have a bad free throw shooting team, we have a bad free throw shooting team. It doesn't get fixed throughout the season. Now, whenever you have a good free throw shooting team, just like that, it's going to travel throughout the whole season. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. They need to close strong and win some games in the non-conference. And whenever conference play starts, which is pretty difficult, it's pretty hard, they need to come out and perform. But you can see things. Jamin Brakefield is coming along. You know, Jarkel Joyner. You can see what they're planning to do. I just don't think they're there yet. And like I said, those cold spells, you know, you got to work on eliminating those. There was a missed free throw, or like they missed a 3-point shot, got the rebound, missed a 3-point shot, got the rebound, missed a 3-point shot. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot you can do there. I mean, it's bad luck. Now, I'm not sure Luis Rodriguez can make those shots, but I'm not sure I want him taking 2 of them. So we'll see whenever this team moves on into the SEC play and in January of exactly where we stand. I don't think it's a situation to where we should be overly concerned. They play Elon tonight. We'll see how they do. I think Ole Miss should rebound with a win if they lose that game. I mean, I think it might be a high school team. I don't know. Playing in the 8th place game in the Charleston Shriners Classic. But whatever. It's one of those things. Also, Like I said, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas, those are legitimately good basketball programs. And I haven't even said Kentucky. I haven't even said Tennessee. Auburn's good. The SEC is a bear. Prepare yourself for that. There's not going to be anybody that gets through this unscathed. They're going to take down everybody. The SEC West in basketball is becoming what the SEC West is in football. You need A&M. Mississippi State is supposed to be good this year as well, but you need A&M, Auburn, and Ole Miss to be good, and you've got a little bit of a bear on that side of the conference. And then Kentucky in the East, whatever they do, they have Florida, they have Tennessee, but they also have Georgia, and I think they have South Carolina, and Vanderbilt that might be improved. So the SEC East kind of looks like the SEC East does in football, and the West is becoming what the West was in basketball. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the 11th show to the final POMcast, and we're going to, when I find the links to where the new show is going to be, I'm going to post them so you can find them as well. So we can try and keep as much of our audience as we built over the year, and we will make sure that you are what you need to be. I'm still trying to figure out if we're going to live stream, if we're going to chat, things like that, but we'll work those out over the next couple of weeks. But December 13th, it starts. Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Tune in for that. You'll be able to catch us on all your podcatchers. It'll have its own YouTube page. It'll be nice and monetized. I'm going to try and figure out a way to bring chat into it and do all of that and allow you to participate in the show. So it should be a lot of fun to do all of this. Now, on the other side, on the Y'all's Conference Network, which is what Positively Ole Miss has become, on the Y'all's Conference Network, you can see today is a heavy Georgia Dogs day. We've got the DGD podcast coming up in about a half hour. There's a replay on there in the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast. Biscuits and SEC's Week 12 preview will pop up at 6 o'clock tonight. Tune in for that and to go along with the podcast. So thank you very much. Like I said, we're going to build this. We're going to keep trying to find people to put content on the Y'all's Conference Network so it can be a place where you can go get information about your team without all the other stuff that's going on. Because this is, in the end, this Y'all's Conference Network, I view this as a financial network. It's a way for everybody to kind of pool their resources and sell ads based off a whole number. So if 20,000 people are subscribers of all the people that you are echoing your shows to, and your subscriber base is 1,000, all of a sudden you have 20 times more selling power. That is my goal. That is what I want to do. And I do genuinely thank you for tuning in today. Follow us on Twitter at @TheStephenWillis or at YCN_SEC on Twitter and on YouTube as well. Do the Y'all's Conference Network. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. And you can do that because in the future it's going to help. You can see what we're transforming to. You can actually start to see the transformation happening. My goal is to sometime into the new year be a finished product. We're not there yet. But we're starting to incorporate things. And over the next month and a half, I want to break the system. And by breaking this system, we'll know exactly what we're capable of doing. So we're going to keep adding until it will not let us add anymore. And then we're going to move on. It could be a 7,000 site network if we want it. And it's content agnostic because it is basically a financial network. But it's a way for you to put content on your site and get the benefit of others doing the same thing for you. So if you have any questions about that, DM me on Twitter, YCN_SEC, and we'll let you know everything that's going on. We'll add you to our echoing thread, and we'll get you started in doing that. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It is Friday. It is Ghostbusters Day. I'm so excited about this game. This movie. I'm going to go watch Ghostbusters tonight. Hey, for Ole Miss fans, whenever I go out and do things on Friday night, Ole Miss wins on Saturday this season. The only game I didn't was the Auburn game. Yeah. So it is what it is. All right. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week on the POMcast. And hotty toddy.